November 7th, 1940. It is a cold morning in Washington state. You are sitting behind the wheel of a black sedan. The engine is idling.
You are Leonard Coatsworth. You're a newspaper editor, a man who deals in facts. But today, the facts don't make sense. You have a dog named Tubby in the back seat.
You pull onto the Tacoma Narrows Bridge. It's a suspension bridge, a marvel of modern engineering. It spans nearly 6,000 feet of open water.
It's also a financial miracle. The state of Washington built this for $6.4 million. In today's economy, that is over $140 million. It was supposed to be the jewel of the Pacific Northwest.
But the wind is picking up. It's hitting 42 miles per hour. That is not a storm. That is a strong breeze. Yet the road in front of you isn't flat.
The locals call this bridge Galloping Gertie. Drivers come here just for the thrill. It's cheaper than a roller coaster. But today, the toll booth operators are nervous.
You feel it in the steering wheel first. The concrete deck rises up. It lifts your car like a toy. Then it drops you down. You are riding a sine wave of asphalt.
This wasn't in the brochure. The toll revenue was supposed to pay off the bonds. If this bridge closes, the cash flow stops. The banks get nervous.
Suddenly, the motion changes. The vertical bounce stops dead. The bridge freezes. The energy has nowhere to go.
This is the moment the investment turns into a liability. The cheap design is about to send the bill, and the cost is going to be total.
The road snaps into a twist. The left lane shoots up into the sky. The right lane drops toward the water. Your car slides sideways.
Gravity just betrayed you. You slam the brakes, but tires don't grip on a 4 or 5 degree angle. You are sliding toward the edge.
You open the door. You have to crawl. The concrete is wet and slick. The wind is screaming in your ears.
You look back at the car. Tubby the dog is still inside. You want to save him, but the bridge is bucking like a wild animal.
This is torsional flutter. The bridge has become an airfoil. It is catching the wind like a wing. It is generating lift, then stalling.
It's a design choice. The architect, Leon Moisseiff, wanted it sleek. He removed the deep truss structures that stabilize other bridges. He chose aesthetics over physics.
He made the deck too thin. It's only 8 feet deep for a bridge this long. It's like stretching a ribbon of rubber across a canyon. It has no stiffness.
Moisseiff was the star of the industry. He said deflection theory proved this was safe. He convinced the financiers he could save them millions on steel.
The physics don't care about his theory. The bridge is twisting 30 degrees, then 40 degrees. The steel cables are singing. They are stretched to their yield point.
Back in the city, an insurance agent named Hallett French is watching the news. His face is pale. He knows something nobody else knows.
The road rises higher. It's a wall of pavement in front of you now. You claw at the expansion joints with your fingernails. You are 195 feet above the freezing water.
Hallett French wrote a policy on the bridge. He took the premium payments from the state, but he never filed the paperwork. He stole the money.
He bet against gravity. He thought a bridge made of concrete and steel could never fall. He is about to lose that bet in spectacular fashion.
If that bridge goes down, the state will demand a payout that doesn't exist. Hallett French is looking at prison time.
You keep crawling. Your knees are bleeding. The lampposts are snapping off like twigs. They crash around you.
The toll collectors have already fled. The logistical chain is broken. The main artery between Tacoma and the Kitsap Peninsula is severed.
The frequency of the twist is increasing. It's 12 cycles per minute. The bridge is shaking itself to death. The concrete is cracking open.
This is the dark business of infrastructure. We cut costs. We ignore safety factors. We hire the guy who promises the impossible for half the price.
A suspension cable snaps. It sounds like a gunshot. The load transfers instantly to the remaining cables. They scream under the tension.
The bondholders are watching their investment crumble. Every snap of a cable is $1 million vanishing into the Puget Sound.
You reach the tower. The solid ground is just a few yards away, but the motion here is violent. The bridge is trying to shake you off.
This is the cost of arrogance. We thought we conquered nature. We thought we could build anything, anywhere, for any price.
You jump for the curb. You hit the dirt. You are safe, but you turn around. Your car is still out there.
Tubby is still in the car. It's the only casualty of the day, a tragedy caused by a decimal point error in a budget meeting.
The center span gives up, a 600-foot section of road tears loose. It flips upside down. It hits the water with the force of a bomb.
The splash is massive. The silence that follows is worse. The bridge is gone. The toll revenue is zero. The lawsuits begin now.
It didn't break because of the wind speed. It broke because of the shape. The wind didn't push it over. The wind fed it energy until it exploded.
It's called aeroelasticity, but in the boardroom, it's called negligence. This failure will rewrite the textbooks for the next 100 years.
The remaining towers stand there, holding nothing. They are monuments to failure. The debris is sinking to the bottom of the Narrows.
And the cleanup bill, that's going to be double the cost of construction, because now we have to fish the wreckage out before we can build again.
Check your gear. We are just getting started on the autopsy. We need to look at the blueprints.
I want to see the bank statements. I want to know who signed off on the plate girders. Follow the money.
Let's cut the bridge open and look at the autopsy. The killer here wasn't the wind speed, it was the wind resistance. Look at the design specs. Most suspension bridges, like the Golden Gate or the George Washington, use what we call open trusses under the road. Big, ugly, crisscrossing steel beams that let the wind pass through like water through a net. But for Tacoma, they used solid plate girders. Imagine massive sheets of solid steel, 8 feet tall, running the entire length of the bridge. They didn't let the air through. They blocked it completely. When the wind hit the side of that bridge, it didn't pass through. It had to go around. This created massive vortices, swirling pockets of low pressure above and below the deck. The bridge wasn't just a road anymore. It effectively became a giant, clumsy airplane wing trying to fly.
And why did they choose those solid girders? Because they were cheap and they were pretty. Enter Leon Moisseiff. In 1940, he was the godfather of bridge building. He was the consultant on the Golden Gate. He was the genius everyone wanted to hire. He proposed a design that was lighter and slimmer than anything ever built. He claimed his deflection theory proved that gravity alone would keep the bridge stiff, so they didn't need those expensive, heavy trusses. The PWA, Public Works Administration, loved him because he saved them millions in steel costs. He gave them a sleek, Art Deco ribbon that looked beautiful on a postcard. But in the world of high-stakes infrastructure, sleek usually means weak. He ignored the safety margins to satisfy the budget committee and his own ego.
That ego ignored a fundamental law of physics, aeroelastic flutter. This is the critical distinction. Everyone says resonance, like an opera singer shattering a glass. That is wrong. Resonance is a forced vibration. This was self-excited vibration. Here is the nightmare scenario. As the bridge twists up, it changes its angle to the wind. That new angle creates more lift, which pushes the bridge up further. Then it stalls and slams down, which twists it the other way, catching the wind again. It is a negative damping loop. The more the bridge moves, the more energy it extracts from the wind. It's a runaway engine. By the time the wind hit 40 miles per hour, the bridge was generating enough kinetic energy to snap 1-inch steel suspension cables like they were sewing thread.
While the physics were spiraling out of control, the financial safety net was essentially a hologram. I mentioned Hallett French, the insurance agent. This is where the story turns into a crime thriller. The state of Washington had paid the premiums to insure the bridge against total collapse. They thought they were covered, but Hallett French worked for the Merchants Fire Assurance Company. When he received the state's money, he didn't file the policy. He figured the odds of a brand new, modern suspension bridge collapsing were zero. It was the Titanic mentality. He pocketed the cash, grand larceny, betting that the bridge would stand forever. When the news broke that Gertie was in the water, he didn't just lose his job, he faced a judge. The state had to sue to get the payout, exposing a massive layer of negligence in the oversight committees.
The engineering community watched in horror as the data came in. The width-to-span ratio on Tacoma was 1:72. That is absurdly narrow. To give you context, the Golden Gate is 1:47. Tacoma was basically a piece of fettuccine held at both ends. Because it was so narrow and had those solid sides, It had zero torsional stiffness, it couldn't fight the twist. When the center span finally gave way, it didn't just fall, it ripped the towers back. The side spans, the parts leading up to the towers, sagged 30 feet instantly because the counterweight of the middle section was gone. The steel towers themselves were bent backward by 12 feet. The structural trauma was total. Nothing could be salvaged. It was a total mechanical write-off.
The aftermath for Leon Moisseiff was brutal. He was ruined. His deflection theory was torn apart in hearings. Engineers realized that by obsessing over cost-cutting and aesthetics, they had forgotten the chaotic nature of the real world. The Federal Works Agency appointed a board of karma engineers Moisseiff had previously dismissed to investigate the failure. Their report destroyed his reputation. He died less than 3 years later, largely from the stress of the scandal. The collapse of the Tacoma Narrows didn't just cost money, it cost the industry its arrogance. It proved that you can't negotiate with nature, no matter how much money you save on the spreadsheet.
The immediate consequence of the fall was a forced marriage between civil engineering and aeronautics. Before Tacoma, bridge builders ignored the wind. They thought weight was the only variable that mattered. After 1940, wind tunnel testing became mandatory for every major span. We stopped building solid plate girders and went back to deep, open trusses that let the wind pass through. When they finally rebuilt the bridge in 1950, nicknamed Gertie, they built a tank. It was wider, heavier, and had open grates in the driving lanes to equalize pressure. They added hydraulic dampers to absorb the energy. It wasn't sleek, and it wasn't pretty, but it was aerodynamically stable. We learned that a bridge has to be able to breathe when the storm hits.
Financially, the collapse sent shockwaves to the insurance markets. Hallett French, the agent who pocketed the premium, was convicted of grand larceny. His firm, fearing a PR nightmare that would destroy their reputation, voluntarily paid the state $4 million, even though the policy technically didn't exist in their books. It was a hush-money settlement to keep confidence in the underwriting system alive, but the ripple effect was permanent. Insurance premiums on large-scale infrastructure projects skyrocketed. The days of fast and cheap were over. Banks began demanding independent engineering audits before releasing funds. The Tacoma disaster proved that skipping a $100,000 safety check can trigger a $10 million loss.
From a survival perspective, if you are ever on a structure that begins to oscillate, whether it's a bridge, a stadium balcony, or a high-rise, get out of the vehicle immediately. Leonard Coatsworth survived because he abandoned his car. The vehicle is a trap. Its suspension amplifies the bouncing, and if the bridge tilts, it becomes a 2-ton sled sliding toward the edge. Get low to the ground to lower your center of gravity, and move toward the supports, the towers or the abutments. That is the stiff part of the structure. Do not try to run across the center span. That is where the amplitude is highest. You have to fight the instinct to freeze and start moving toward the anchor points.
The verdict is a warning about optimization. In business and engineering, we are obsessed with efficiency. We want to strip away every ounce of unnecessary material to maximize profit. Moisseiff optimized the Tacoma Bridge until it was razor thin. He removed the redundancy, the fat, thinking he was being efficient, but in high-risk environments, that fat is your survival margin. Redundancy looks like waste on a spreadsheet, but it is the only thing that saves you when the model is wrong. If you strip a system down to the bone, the first unexpected shock will kill it.
Today, every suspension bridge in the world, from the Akashi Kaikyo in Japan to the Verrazzano in New York, stands because Tacoma fell. The engineers monitor the natural frequency of these structures constantly. If the wind hits that magic number, computer-controlled dampers kick in to disrupt the resonance. We learned the hard way that you cannot fight the wind with stiffness alone. You have to outsmart it with aerodynamics. Physics is always waiting for us to get arrogant again.
The legacy of Galloping Gertie is simple. The cheapest bid is usually the most expensive mistake you will ever make. Quality is an investment, not a cost. And if you see the road start to breathe, Don't wait for the toll receipt.
Check your gear.
Stay sharp